You welcome everybody.
Should we let Tucker stop doing that?
Tucker's welcoming everybody. Hi, Tucker.
Tucker's tearing it up. Hi, everyone. Welcome back
to Rialta News. Tucker,
Oh my
settle
gosh.
down.
Tucker.
All right, everybody. Hey, good to see you again this weekend. And we're going to talk a little bit about towing with the Rialta. We've gotten a lot of questions about connecting stuff to that hitch in the back. Not the least of which is, why is there a hitch on the back if I can't tow anything? So I thought we might spend a little time just chatting about it. There's a lot of information out there, and there's honestly, what you do with your Rialta is completely up to you. So if you're hauling stuff and you're pulling your boat or your bikes, or you're going to Sturgis with a couple of Harleys on the back of that thing, more power to you. But let's talk through it. We've already done a video on the weight.
Yes.
So what do you think about that when it comes to weight? And then you add towing. What are your thoughts? I just want to know what you think.
I don't know. I would say I wouldn't do it, but I always live on the more cautionary side than pushing it.
Why wouldn't you do tow stuff?
Just because I don't want to break a 20-year-old rig. You know, it just seems to me that, you're really pushing it in case, if you decide to do something like that, you could actually destroy it.
Yeah. Well, it's tough on it.
It's tough.
It's front wheel drive.
Yeah.
It's not rear wheel drive.
Yes.
And you've got weight limits that you have to pay attention to. So let's talk first about the tongue weight, right? When you load up on that hitch, what kind of weight can you put on the back of that hitch? It's rated up for 200 pounds of tongue weight. Now, for those of you that have done it, or if you haven't, right, if you're thinking about putting bike racks or other things on there, if you get on there, there's a gentleman just posted about hauling his bikes and hauling his scooter actually, I think it was. If you get on there, you put a bar in there or a hitch on it, and you get up and down, jump up and down on there, you'll notice that hitch flexes quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's not super solid.
Yeah.
So will it hold 200 pounds? Yeah, probably.
Should.
It's not rusted out under there, something's wrong, but
Yeah.
is that how you want to find out?
Yeah.
You remember we had friends of ours, they built a custom bar out of oak. You remember that?
Yes. Drove it from Texas to Florida.
They put it on the back of their Class C
But
on
not the Rialta.
on a hitch rack and strapped this giant bar to the back. You know who you are, brother?
I wish we would have taken a picture of that one.
and then drove down the road, and it was moving even when they weren't driving. So he said they just
Yeah.
kept going. But anyways, that's a side story.
Side
We miss you, Ray. But hey, no, he's okay. He's just in Florida. I mean,
Yeah.
We just miss him. It wasn't because of the bar. So you have 200 pounds of tongue weight. You can reinforce that. Have somebody get up under there and weld things up a little better. Get a little higher rate.
Yeah.
But that's enough to carry. What might you put back there if you not towing, but like carrying?
Well, if I was going to do that, it would be like a cooler or, a suitcase or something. I wouldn't.
On like a rack.
Yeah.
On one of those
Like if you want a little extra closet or a little extra refrigerator room or that sort of thing.
Okay.
Is what I would do.
Well, we have one of those hitch racks, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can put that back there. And
Yeah, loaded up all the sleeping bags on it and all that stuff. You can do that.
so something like that if you needed the space.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Bikes. It's kind of a pain to
regular
put bikes
bikes
inside of your Rialta. There's not a lot of room in there for that. So maybe putting bicycles back there, mountain bikes, but they get heavy. Like those e-bikes are heavy.
The e-bikes, right? No. I would probably only take one e-bike. The other person just got to run really fast.
She doesn't want to put weight back there.
No.
Well, here's the thing. The more weight you put on the back axle, the more you're offloading from the front axle. And the reality is, take it to the weigh station and get it checked. So if you're going to load up a rack and put it on there and you think, well, my little Honda SUV will handle this bike rack, why won't my Rialta? It's a different animal. It's way out back.
Yeah.
It's just a sprung axle. It's not.
Yeah.
It's a front wheel drive car pulling that. And it's already doing a lot of work. You got your tanks back there, your water tanks back there, your generators back there, your propane tanks back there.
Mm-hmm.
You got all the stuff we just told you was essential put in that trunk back there. That thing's heavy.
Yeah. I mean, we even talked about his toolbox earlier, and that one we keep up pretty much between us.
Up in the front.
In the very front.
Up in the front over the driven axle.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, so okay, that's carrying racks and things, so you have some limitations, and then test it out. Don't just do it. I wouldn't recommend it. Don't just do it and then head off on your trip across the country.
Yeah, at least test it around your area.
Go take a short trip, see how it does. Maybe you get a camera back there and be watching just to see how steady things are.
Yeah.
And make sure it's all shored up. You want to be safe. You don't want to lose your cargo, but you don't want to hurt anybody else in traffic too, right?
Yeah.
That wouldn't make any sense.
You don't want to break your Rialta.
Yeah. And by the way, we haven't gotten anybody to send us a picture or told us to feature their car on the screensaver for a while. So I'm kind of tired of the same old ones. No offense to all of you with your cool campers, but I know there's more, and I won't put your pictures up really unless you send them over and say go for it. So send them along. That'd be cool. Okay, so towing. Officially in the manual it shows, now we've got an O2 QD, right? And it says, hey, you can tow 2,000 pounds for towing, and that's kind of cool. So that sounds like a little trailer or something, but you're saying you wouldn't tow a trailer.
No.
Yeah. You know, and I wouldn't either. Going up and then looking how things are hooked up and everything, I wouldn't do it either. It could do it. Now, if I were going to pull a trailer, I'd make sure I had something that was, instead of putting something heavy on a rack, if it's going to be a scooter or something, I might do it on something that was wheeled to get the weight off the tongue and onto the wheels of the trailer, then pull something that way. And there's, Tucker, you need to straighten up. Quit hitting that camera. There are some folks that have set up some pretty cool rigs for doing that, but it can get awful tricky backing them up. You're at the back of a really long rig.
Yeah.
You can't really see around the sides of that thing if you've got something in the back.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to consider. So if you're thinking about a Rialta, but you need to tow, certainly you're not going to flat tow a vehicle. No way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't even think towing like a golf cart is a good idea. I don't think you're going to get there.
Yeah. And this is really for all of us who just go out and buy a Rialta and, you know, we're ready to go. Now, if you're a big mechanic, you know what you're doing. You can put the bars and everything you need underneath, do the welding and all that stuff. We're not talking to you, obviously. You know what you're doing. But for most of us, we go out and just buy a Rialta and drive it. I'm talking really for myself. He knows what he's doing. But if I see rust in parts of my Rialta, the last thing I'm going to do is add extra weight or pull something with it, because it's just a 20-year-old Rialta and I don't want to destroy it. I'd like to keep it as long as I possibly can. Yeah. So this is really just anybody that's like, I don't do a whole lot of maintenance and all that stuff. Just, I wouldn't take the chance.
Yeah, you know, that's a really good point. And I think the challenge is, if you look at the hitch on a Class C that's built on a truck chassis or a big van chassis, commercial chassis, it looks exactly the same as it does when you look at the hitch and the receiver, right? You get your 2-inch receiver. It's the same as it looks on the back of the Rialta. Mm-hmm. So it's a little misleading. Well, hey, my truck will pull it. This will pull it. The hitch should be rated for it. I can hook it up. Mm-hmm. Could I hook it up to something and move it around the yard? Probably. Should I hook it up to something and take it down the road in the Rialta? It's not on a truck chassis, not that type of a truck, even though it was a commercial vehicle, the Eurovan. But again, remember, it's a front-wheel drive van connected back to this, essentially a trailer, what Winnebago's built into it and connected.
Yeah.
And so it's already pulling all of that, and you've got to pay attention to the overall vehicle rating that you're hauling. So if you need to do a bunch of towing, really think through it, because that might not be the one for you. And we have friends that have traded up.
Yes.
Moved out of the Rialta, they're moving into a different vehicle to meet their needs, because they are towing, and they need something different.
And this also goes for all of you who are blessed enough to live in states that have a bunch of hills and that sort of thing. You probably don't want to be towing something on the back of your Rialta while you're going up the big hill and you're really upsetting everybody around you.
Well, it's hard on the transmission.
And it's very hard on the transmission.
We talk a lot about transmissions, and, you know, the essential requirement, get a transmission cooler on that. You know, it's almost not even a debate anymore. There are very few people that say, you don't need it. It'll work fine from the factory. Mm-hmm. Most of those are mechanics that aren't driving them.
Yeah.
If anybody who's got one's watching the scan gauge, they know, hey, you need to do this to get the temperature regulated. But if the transmission, and you can't buy new ones, rebuilding them is $7,000 to $8,000 to get a rebuilt transmission, if you can find it, and a whole bunch of time to wait to get that done. well, then is it worth it to be towing and putting extra strain on that? Because it's almost the weak link in it is that transmission's not this big heavy duty truck transmission.
And we're only saying this because we've seen this happen with several people who have towed and then broken their axle or whatever. Major stuff's going on.
Yeah.
That's then they're like, oh well, there goes my Rialta. Now I don't have one.
Yeah, and I'll throw this out there. You know, if you're thinking about towing a flat, you know, a vehicle, flat tow a vehicle, or bring something like a golf cart so you can zip around instead of or motorcycle. It's okay if it works for you and it's lightweight, scooter, something like that. E-bike might be a good solution. But remember, the Rialta's small anyway. It's kind of easy enough to just disconnect things, put a few things away.
Yeah.
It's not like trying to move a whole camper or a big Class A or even like drag a whole fifth wheel down to town.
Yes.
Honestly, if you had a big giant 4-door dually truck, you probably got just as much to manipulate around to get out and go.
That's true.
They're easy to park. They fit in a Walmart parking space.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I get that way, right? I get grumpy like, I go and plug everything. I don't want to go to.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, Tim, I really want to go to the store.
It's my excuse. I just don't want to get out there and do 3 things to get it ready to go. Right? It's not that much work,
Right.
but just keep that in mind if you're considering Rialta. And also, as you're planning your trip, sometimes the campground's a bit away, and then you want to drive down and go see things in town.
Yes.
As long as you can park it in town and find a place to go, and then maybe walk and stuff, you're going to be just fine. It's easy to come and go.
Absolutely.
Just watch out for those porch pirates that steal your stuff when you're gone. We talked about that in another video.
Just take it
too.
all with you.
You know, and by the way, we referenced quite a few of the other videos that we've done, and it was actually our son kind of said, hey, y'all need to tell people to subscribe and to like and do all these things. So we usually don't because we figure you already know that. But then again, we have a lot of people that tell us they watch the video and they're not
subscribed.
So I don't know how it matters. It's not like there's a million people subscribing, but if you do, then you'll at least get the updates and get to see stuff. Because I can't tell you how many times someone says, oh, you guys talked about that? Where do I find that video?
Yeah.
It's one of the 200 videos or whatever. It's in there, right? So
somewhere.
Hit the subscribe and like. Honestly, it tells YouTube that, hey, this is relevant info, and it helps me as a Winnebago Rialta owner or a camping person or someone who would go, like to go, might want to go, or wished I did, or is remembering how I used to, or whatever it is you're watching.
Yeah.
And that's good because it'll help recommend some relevant content for you. But we appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right, so on the towing, right? Can you tow? Should you tow? You really have to factor it out. Just like loading your Rialta, be efficient.
Yeah.
Should I bring too many items of clothing? Should I bring all this extra food? Do I need to haul all of this stuff? We talked about people with their Blackstones and the big grills and extra bottles of propane and all this. If you don't need to take it with you, maybe don't. Better to travel light. It's easier on everything. You're going to have some trouble anyway. You don't want extra trouble because you're hauling something with you.
Yeah, hauling too much stuff.
Now, if you're towing or you've got a rack that's working for you, some of those they don't make currently. So if you've got an older style rack or something else that works really well for bikes or scooters or your kayaks or any of that, would you please share it down in the comments and let us know? That way everyone else who's watching can see how it's worked for you and where you've gone with it. Maybe you've gone over those hills that she's talking about and taken it through the mountains and it's working just fine.
Yeah.
Please let us know.
Yeah, because we know there are people that still tow and they haven't had problems.
Yeah.
So we do know this, but we just live on the side of caution, and I don't think I want to get rid of my Rialta just because I wanted to take something super heavy with me. So, I don't know. That's just me.
She just doesn't want me towing cool stuff home from the middle of nowhere, Mississippi.
Maybe that's it. I'm just trying to keep them
Ooh,
from
look,
bringing stuff back.
It's an old hot rod. Let's just hook it up and take it with us. Yeah, probably not going to go. Yeah, but I wouldn't mind putting a trike on there, like a big Harley 2-person cruising little whatever, and we go tooling around. But that's pretty heavy.
It would be cool to have 2 scooters with us or something when we go to these places, but
yeah, we'll figure it out. We're waiting on those hoverboards. I got a text into Michael J. Fox, but he ain't getting back to me.
It's past time. They should have them already.
Wasn't that 2015? When was that?
Yeah, it was like 10 years ago.
What's the deal with the hoverboard? We missed it. And those other ones the kids are playing with, they don't hover.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, hey, this one will be brief because we just want to talk towing, but we are hoping you'll share some examples with us. So please let us know a couple of things. What are you using to haul what? Golf clubs, bikes, scooters. And the other piece of it is if you're using an e-bike, we've been thinking about getting one, but there's so many options out there, and they range from, $1,000 to like $5,000 a bike.
Yeah, we don't want to go that
We
high.
really don't know what is best and what works. So
Yeah.
could you share with us what your experience has been? There's some that fold up. There's some that don't. There's some that have big tires and go well in the sand. Some that don't.
Some that are lighter.
Some that are fast and some that have range. And oh, goodness.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know where to begin. And I don't think I want to buy a used one from someone online why'd they get rid of it? They're not going to tell me. So
That would be super cool to have.
yeah. So if you tell us, that'd be great. And then I'll tell you what, we'll hitch them up and see if ours breaks.
Yes. But we might start with bicycles first.
Maybe so. We're going to be skateboarding. Watch. We'll just be doing those clip-on roller skates. Anybody remember those?
Yes, the metal ones.
Adjust them with a little wing nut and then climp them on your sneakers
Then
and hit the road, baby.
Make sure you carry Band-Aids with you.
Those metal wheels. They don't make those?
I don't think they make them.
Man,
If they do, it's little kids in Walmart or something.
snap them onto your kids and go skating, man.
Heelys. That's what we need. Heelys.
No, not Heelys.
I don't even know if they
want
make
those
those
metal
anymore
ones.
either.
Those things were loud.
They were loud.
You could get sparks if you drifted into the corner.
Oh,
Hey,
golly.
Paul, if you're watching, man, you remember those, buddy? We used to rock those things back in the
Metal
day.
Skates.
Yeah. Oh, you run over the anthill with them?
Oh, you hit a tiny rock, forget it, you're dead.
That's true. You always have to be a little light on that front foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we're
We
reminiscing.
digress.
Hey, it's good talking with everybody today. Let us know about your towing. Let us know about your bikes. And do me a favor, hit subscribe. And one other thing, share it with somebody you think could be entertained or informed by some of the stuff that we talk about. Just hit that share button and
or
send
if
it
someone's
over.
even thinking about buying a Rialta.
Yeah, please, if you know someone
Good
who's in the market or
information, too.
thinking about it, or even someone who's supporting your purchase and maybe going to help you out or go with you,
Yeah.
show them what you're thinking about. Hey, jump in. And we're here to answer questions and just talk about stuff
And
that's
there
going
are
on.
thousands of resources out there for you. So
Mm-hmm.
you're not in it alone, and we're not trying to, not have a good time. We just want to be cautionary and let you know some things are worth the risk, some things aren't.
Just be careful. Don't just plug it into that hitch because it's got the hitch. It must fit. Let's tow the yacht and hit the road, baby. You're going to hit the road for sure. Straight on. Well, remember, you got some resources. The Rialta Owners Group of America on Facebook. Rialta and all things Rialta, the craziest title in the world on Facebook.
The Women's Rialta, whatever that
Got
one
the
is.
Women's Rialta Group. We put all these links down here in the
And,
descriptions.
yeah.
Yeah. And then you've got rialtainfo.com. Rialtainfo.com. A to Z, tons of information. That site's also called the Baldy, and there's a ton of info in there. It used to be on a DVD or a CD back in the day. And it's even got the original sales pitch from Winnebago, which is kind of cool to read. But lots of cool specs
That's
and
neat.
modifications and other things in there. So there's a ton of resources, but it's always good just to connect. We hope to see you on the road.
Yeah.
And from me and from Nikki, we just want to remind you that no matter what's going on in your world, always remember God is good
All the time.
all the time.
All
All right.
the time.
Thank you, friends. Good seeing you. We appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Bye.